We spent like 30 minutes on the beginning.
Okay. I'll edit it all.
I even cut my hair for you, man.
And I appreciate that so much.
I see you got
I
yours
know, and I
twisted.
kept my makeup on past 5
You
o'clock.
you
so
know you looking good. You looking good.
Thank you.
'Cause
I'm just gonna take that and be like you said,
We
okay.
are live, and I'm super excited about it. What up, everybody, man? It's your boy Darnell, and I want to welcome you to a special edition of Single, Dating, and Parenting Panel Discussion, man. We have some great people that's going to be involved in it, so I want you to sit back, take a listen, and take some notes and see how you can get through this time. So today, we have...
It's Osiris.
Okay, this is not the radio. Just Osiris, all right.
In April.
I love it. Osiris, so how many kids you got?
Really?
Yeah,
I have 8 kids.
8 kids. April, how many?
3.
3? I love it. So before we jump into it, let the people know kind of where you were born at, and how'd you get here to Phoenix?
Ladies first.
Oh, thank you, Alex.
Oh, okay.
Born and raised native Arizonan, and I mean that's how I got here. Born and raised.
Okay. And so were you ever married?
No.
No? Okay. So what about you?
Yes, I was married.
Okay.
I'm born and raised in L.A. Moved out here, college, stayed, and then I moved down to Phoenix. I went to NAU, moved down to Phoenix,
Okay.
started a family, got married, got divorced, got married, got divorced.
So let me ask you this, because they don't hear this from a lot of people. You've been divorced twice.
That's exactly what I said, yes.
So what was the situation like, man, with the first marriage to the second marriage? Like, how was your transition?
My transition from when I got divorced from the first marriage
Yeah.
to the transition to go to the second marriage,
Yeah.
toxic.
Toxic? Why is that?
I wasn't ready to get married the second time.
So why'd you do it?
I learned my lesson. I got older and I realized that I shouldn't have done it.
Okay.
So I had to correct myself from what I did wrong in the first one, but I never took time to do that.
So did you have kids with the first one?
Yes, 2 girls.
So how did they react to the whole divorce happening? Or were they too young?
They were too young. They were very young when I got divorced.
Okay, so then your second marriage, how long did that last?
11 years.
11 years? So how did your kids react to the divorce happening in that one?
Which kids? The ones that are with the second marriage?
Yeah.
To them, that was just normal. I was their father.
But did they see you going through situations or whatever? Did it affect them? Because you know when some kids...
So you have to, I might need to understand, are you talking about my first 2 daughters, or are you talking about the kids I had with the second marriage?
So your first 2 daughters in the second marriage?
Oh, that's a whole other story,
Okay,
because they was not really involved in that marriage.
got you. Okay, and so the kids that you had in your second marriage, how did they react to the divorce?
The second divorce,
Yeah.
there's a lot of hidden issues involved.
Okay,
There's a lot of things that need to be worked out with them individually
okay.
and as a family. Things that they might have to go through in life, but they're learning. Some are going through it through church. Some are just trying to deal with it on their own.
Okay. Okay. So, Miss April.
Yes.
So, how long was your relationship?
Okay, well, the first one I was just young and dumb, so that was the first one. But I had my first relationship. It was I was high school.
Okay.
Pregnancy. I was a teen mom.
Okay.
So I had my first 2 kids before, like at 17 and 19.
Oh, wow.
So I had them pretty young, and then I met somebody else who I was more in love with, and I was more grown up and that type of thing. And then we have a child together.
Gotcha. So you said you have 3, right?
So
with the first relationship you were 17 and 19, correct?
no. I mean, I had one kid at 17, another one at 19.
Gotcha. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So how did your parents react to you coming home saying, "Hey, I'm pregnant at 17"?
Funny story.
Yeah.
Not, I want to say not well, but she actually did handle it very well. My stepfather was an evangelist,
Gotcha.
but he was going through a lot of personal problems, and my mom was going through a divorce with him, and so it was like she found out that her husband was, using drugs
Yeah.
the marriage not working out, and her daughter pregnant, like all within like a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a rough time for my mom. Like, it was scary for me to tell her, but she was going through a lot at the time. So that's why it was really hard. But Pastor Deborah was there to help her and me. And
Wow, okay.
and
Okay.
yeah, so she gave a lot of support to both of us. So
Okay.
yeah.
So how did you react when you found out you were pregnant at 17? Like, what was your goals and aspirations at 17? And then how did you, when you found out you were pregnant, like, what was your reaction?
I've always wanted to be a mom. So
Okay.
that's something I've always wanted to do. Like that was one of my life goals, was
Mm-hmm.
to be a mom. So it wasn't, becoming a mother that made me happy.
Gotcha.
Like, nobody wants to do that at 17, but like at the same time, like, I was gonna have a baby. So, and I love kids too. So I wasn't that upset about being pregnant, and I'm a little bit ambitious. So I was like, having this baby isn't gonna stop me from my goals.
Right.
Because what I wanted to do was go into fashion, cosmetology, that kind of stuff.
Right.
When I tried to go to cosmetology school because I was pregnant, they told me I couldn't go. And I think that was the first time where it was like, I'm pregnant and I can't do something. And that shocked me, and kind of threw me a little bit. But the funny thing was, because I told you I want to go like makeup, I was taking fashion industry classes while I was in high school. So, but what happened after I had my son, I was involved in like a parenting program, and the lady that was coming out to my house, she was, teaching me about child development, and I loved it. Like, I fell in love with how a baby's brain works and brain development, and I've always loved personal development and psychology, so I fell in love with that, and that became my career.
Gotcha.
Right then, because I think like she sparked something in me, but I was more called to do that than I was to go into fashion and beauty like I meant to.
Got you. So so in high school, 17, you were a junior.
Yeah.
So did you actually finish high school?
Nope. No, I didn't finish high school. So what I did, I had my baby in the summer, which would have been my senior year.
Right.
Starting my senior year, I had him like in August.
Okay.
So what happened, I stayed home with him because I was breastfeeding, and I didn't want to leave him either. Like, I was like, he had to stay with me, and I didn't want nobody babysitting him. Like, so I ended up quitting high school. I got my GED and got that finalized, I think like late November, early December, and I started college in January.
Got you. So
So I went straight to college.
So your baby was like a motivation to pursue purpose and to build a life.
Honestly, God, no, not really. I told you, like, I'm ambitious. Like,
Yeah.
I was going to make something out of myself regardless. Like, baby, no baby.
Right.
It was just like, I'm ambitious. I got these goals. I got a baby. He coming with me. Like, it was
Yeah.
like that. But it wasn't like, and I did feel like I have a baby now, so, like, I have to take care of him.
Right.
But, I mean, as far as, like, my goals and, like, that I have to do something, I mean, I'm just wired like that. Like,
Gotcha.
It
So-
was like that.
You said you had a baby at 19.
Yeah.
Okay. So was it with the same guy?
Yeah.
Okay. So walk me through that process. Like, man, all of a sudden 19, boom, pregnant
Yeah.
again. Were y'all planning it or?
No. I told you I was dumb. Like, young and dumb. But no, that's the one that threw me, because
Gotcha.
I did have enough sense to know that having another baby would set me back farther.
Gotcha.
Like, I knew it was going to be harder with my first, but I knew it would be monumentally harder with two by myself.
Gotcha.
So, and their dad was in the picture. Like, he wasn't gone or anything like that. We had, like 17 and 19-year-olds would be, we had issues.
Right.
And just young, like just being immature. But he was around the kids, and he was around me, and we were still together. We didn't really break up until after I had the second child.
Okay.
But I was so, like, determined to, like, do good, and I was already in college and stuff like that. So the second baby, like I said, it just threw me. I was depressed. I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, just.
So
That was a mess.
who was there to help you guys through the whole like separation, divorce? Like, who was there to be your backbone?
My family was. I mean, that's easy. Like, it was my family. My mom, like I said, Pastor Deborah, my aunts,
Okay.
my mom and my aunts.
Okay.
So I was a little bit older when I got.
How old were you when you had your first kid?
My first kid I was 26.
Okay.
Let me do the math on that one. Yeah, about 20. Yeah, about 26.
Okay.
And oh no, let me think about this. I know how old she is, but I gotta do the math. I gotta do the calculator on this one. I was in my 20s.
Okay.
Let's just say that. And then my second one, which is now 18, from that marriage, pretty much I was in my 30s, so they like 3 years apart.
Okay.
So who helped me? I had people in my corner, but I didn't listen to them after I got the first divorce. And one thing I gotta say is, the first divorce was all me. You know, like I tell anybody, I had an attitude, I was arrogant, so I made mistakes. But our relationship with my daughters now is fabulous.
Okay.
So we had a moment where we wasn't talking to each other, and now we starting to talk. For the last 3 years, we've been really building a relationship between father and daughters.
Okay.
And I do owe it to my first ex-wife. Basically, everything that she helped that relationship build. So the second one, that's a whole nother.
Everybody got a story on the second one.
Everybody got a story on the second one, boy. A lot of it had to deal with still going through some issues with that one.
Okay.
But I think the people who were in my corner was some close friends. Started going back to church, working with you, and doing things that you and I do on the side with the podcast, and just being around positive people and not dealing with toxic people or negative outcomes. Just keep my life in a positive place.
Okay.
That helps out a lot, because we can all go down a rabbit hole, but as long as I know I got people to pull me out the rabbit hole, or places where I can go to not be in the rabbit hole, that helps out a lot.
Okay. So was there ever a moment in being a parent and then becoming single and now being a single parent where you just kind of spiraled for a second, like, man, or went through depression or
No.
struggled within yourself? Like maybe your kids didn't know, but you were kind of struggled within yourself.
No. I've never went through a depression of having kids, taking care of kids,
Right.
being a single parent. That never crossed my mind. One, because my mom had a daycare since I was 7, so I've always been around kids.
Gotcha.
So dealing with kids, understanding kids, that's second nature to me.
Okay.
So what I've learned is it's not about dealing with them,
Yeah.
because I'm going to do everything for them.
Right.
It's do I want to be bothered with adults?
Yeah.
So therefore, there comes a point where, as I got older, it's like I'm not dealing with the superficial or the toxic traits or the red flags that we sort of ignore when we're younger because we just want what we want.
Right.
If it's a red flag, I'm out in 5 seconds. So
Okay.
I don't push it because I don't need anybody in my life.
Right.
I would like to have people in my life, but if I don't have a person in my life, then so be it. I'm fine being single. So it's not about, oh, I got to date, I got to have this, I got to be with somebody. No, because I'm learning more about me and dealing with what I got to deal with than to bring somebody into my life with my kids. They got to be able to handle all that. And if the person just want to date, I don't have time to date. It's not I'm not saying I'm looking for someone to be life partner, but at the same time, all the games that go into like the beginning dating and all that stuff, I don't have time for that.
Okay. What about you?
I don't date either.
No,
Dating.
did you? Was there? You went off on his, but no.
I know, it's fine.
Was
No, we already talked about this.
Yeah, no, but was there ever a moment in being a single parent where you where you were depressed, where you were going through some stuff, where you were struggling mentally within yourself?
No. I'm like, no, because I think too, like one of the differences I think when you're a single parent is that you know that like your kids are dependent on you. You know what I mean? Like it's not that kids in a two-parent don't depend on their parents, but you're just one.
Right.
You know, so you know that like because it's just one of you, because your kids are depending on you, because you have to do things for them, it's kind of like, it's not that you might not struggle or have a bad day or something like that, but like you got to get over that because your
Yeah.
kids need you.
Okay.
You know, your kids are like first and primary, and so I think that's why, like, it. And I love kids. I love kids. I love my kids. Like, you know, and so you have to pull it together for them all the time. Like you're just by yourself. You know, even if I was, like, let's say if I was married, if I'm having a bad day, I might be able to tag my husband in. But you can't do that when you're not married and you're parenting, you know? So you just have to keep it together all the time. I've had days where I'm tired, you know, but again, you got to pull it together and keep going.
Yeah, there's days where you like, say for instance, my son wants to go to the gym and play basketball, and I've already been working my second job, got up, went to church, and I'm taking care of all this other stuff, and they're like, "Are we going to the gym?" I'm like, all right, let's go. Because in his mind, he's not tired.
Yeah.
In his mind is, Dad doesn't want to go. Dad is being lazy. It's not about, yeah, Dad was working all night, Dad was doing this, Dad was doing that. They don't see that. Because 9 times out of 10, I'm doing it while they sleep.
Yeah.
So I have to suck it up. Now, when I'm done, I might be hurting, but at the same time, in his eyes, we went out and had fun for about an hour or 2 hours.
Yeah.
So it's like when you're a parent, a single parent, you don't have time to worry about what you can't do,
Okay.
because your children don't care about what you can do. So can you do now something for me right now?
Right.
And if you keep giving the excuse, I'm tired, that's going to start pushing them away, start doing their own thing. And you can't do that. And then if you start bringing someone into your life, they have to understand that your children will always come first.
Right.
And they have to understand that there might not be a day where you might want to go, let's go to the movies, and you're like, I can't because I got to either go to a football game or a basketball game, or I'm with my kids and I haven't been with them all day, so I got to be able to spend time with them, because pretty soon you live in your life and they be like, well, Dad or Mom don't care about me because they doing their own thing. It's like you have to look at things and put things in priority. And if you're going to be dating, that person who you date has to understand that fully. Because if they don't, they want your attention, you're not going to give it all the time.
Right.
And if they can't understand that days that they want to see you, you can't see them, then it's going to cause a conflict, and it's no sense of us being together. If you don't understand my dynamics, then I can't be with you. And a lot of times, that's what makes you say, you know what, I'm not even going to look, because why even go through all that when you can just say, you know what, I'm just going to take care of my kids. When they get grown, I can live my life.
So you want to wait
I didn't
until
say I
they
want
get
to wait.
until they get mature.
I didn't say
Just
I wanna wait.
hypothetically, you would, right? You makes it hard. But hypothetically, you want to wait. You would want to wait
No.
until they get older before you meet somebody.
No, it's not that. That's what I'm saying. It's not that I want to wait.
Right.
I'm choosing to, if someone comes along and we have a good chemistry, that person still needs to understand, yeah, we got good chemistry when we're together, but you also got to understand my chemistry with my children is going to be at first.
Yeah.
So it's not that I want to wait. That's why I was saying I don't want to wait. It's not that. It's just that someone has to come around and understands that chemistry.
Right. Okay.
So if someone does come around and God bring them to me, I'm gonna take it for a stride. But if someone comes around and they don't understand the chemistry, I'm gonna say bye.
So then let me ask you this. What would it take, because you say you don't date. All right. And then you're basically like, if I meet somebody, I meet somebody. If I don't, I don't.
Pretty much.
So let me ask you, what would it take for a man to catch your attention? Like, as a single
you
parent.
can catch my attention. You just might not catch me. Like,
You already
I'm
ought to
not
see
saying
him.
I'm not looking at people, but I don't. But when I was probably looking like late 30s, that's when I knew I didn't want to get married. Like,
Okay.
I know that I don't want to be married.
Okay.
So it's like, if I don't want to be married, then I don't need to date. So it's not like I quit dating then. Like, I was still dating and seeing people at the time, but like as I got older, because I just got more and more clear on the fact that I didn't want to get married.
Gotcha.
So then after that, it was just like, well, I don't need to date. So I'm not trying to be married.
Okay.
So
What brought that mindset on of like you just don't want to be married? Was it an experience, or just after a while it was like or was it like the
Yeah.
typical men ain't this and men ain't that?
No.
Like what
No, I
brought
fully
that mindset?
Support men. But no, I'm not that independent woman like
Okay.
that. But I feel like for me that I think I wanted to get married when I was younger because I wanted a father figure for my kids.
Gotcha.
And I do believe that kids do better in a male and female household.
Okay.
So I'm clear about that. Statistics back it up. Like, it's just better for kids, right?
Okay.
And I knew that. But now that I'm older, and it was funny because when I was younger, I just, you want to get married. And I was young. I had 3 kids, and asking somebody to be with you and be a mature, responsible adult at like 25 or 26 or 28, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had a lot to deal with. So finding a man that's mature at an age to be married, it was harder. I know that now, but at the time I'm just like, why don't they act right? Why don't they, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that type of thing. But as the kids got older, I was like, well, what I wanted to be married for, I wasn't getting because they were getting older, and I wasn't, like I said, I was still dating, but I really wasn't finding anybody, like Alex said, that could deal with the way, not that, I don't want to say to deal with the way that I parent, but kind of like you said, like you want somebody that's going to come in and be able to handle all of that and know that you prioritize your children the way that you do, because I did.
Yeah.
I did that also. And yeah, it was just harder to find. And then I wasn't dating like a lot either. Like it was like here and there. And I wasn't, once I figured out I didn't want to be married, like I just didn't date. Like I quit because I didn't want to be married.
So here's a weird question. You can answer it if you want to. How did you deal with the desires of wanting, the sexual desires then? Because we all got them. Like, so how did you deal with that?
I'm a Christian. So one of the things that, don't give me that face. I know people be saying stuff like that, but like, don't give me that face. But here's the thing. When you understand that, you're going to edit this out.
He's not.
I'm just like,
My
you just
bad.
gave me that face, like,
No,
she don't give me some little, like when Christian people tell you,
Yeah.
like, you just need to pray.
Yeah.
You just need to worship. Like, no, it's not like that. But I think, like, being a Christian, when you realize that sex is just for marriage, and when you give your body over to God, you know how God says, like, our bodies, it's our temple, temple, right? His temple. And then if I look at another man, so I look at men now like my brother in Christ.
Okay.
And my brother,
So
right?
you're not attracted to anybody.
No, not. I'm put like this. It's been
Say
a
it-
long time.
say it right, say it right.
It's been a long time. Like I'm seasoned in this.
Oh,
If
okay,
you would
gotcha.
ask me this 10 years ago, I might have had a different answer for you. But
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
seasoned in this now. But I look at men now like my brother in Christ.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I might see somebody that's attractive. Like, I ain't dead. Like, you know what I mean? But
Okay.
I'm not. And because I don't want to get married, it's like your interests change. You know what I mean? And then too, like, I saw, oh my God, what's his name? Megan Good's husband. When Megan and Good, it's Franklin something.
The pastor?
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's a pastor, but he's a minister. But Megan Good, she married a minister.
Yeah.
And when they did their,
Oh, he's a pastor.
he is a pastor?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, when they had their book came out, when they were dating and getting married and all that kind of stuff, and I heard them say something like, you don't want to cause your brother in Christ to sin either. Do you know what I mean? So like, it's been a process of learning all those type of things and growing in God and not wanting to cause my brother to sin. Not, again, I'm clear on I don't want to get married. So that helps because I'm not, it's like you're not going to pursue something that you don't want.
Gotcha.
So it made it a little easier.
Gotcha. So you may have a different perspective.
I ain't as Christian as you. I'm just not. I'm just gonna say that right there. I'm all about God and got saved, but I'm still working on my saved side. So, whew, I mean, time does take toll on what you were saying, but I don't know. Is this rated PG?
Man, it's rated whatever you want
Yes,
to be.
Lord.
We like in the words of Michael Todd, we are hot.
Yeah, we are hot.
So,
No, it's
We
just like
live.
you have friends, you have benefits, you have people,
okay.
and then, you might not be in a relationship, you might not have anything but that intimacy. Now, intimacy could be a lot of things. In this topic, we're talking about intimacy being sexual. And you can have that without no other strings attached to it. So, yeah, we can have those things.
We're not supposed, I'm gonna tell you, look, let me clarify. We're not supposed to indulge in those things, but it's there. You know what I mean?
Like I said, I'm working on being saved. I ain't say I started to be saved, and I'm still working on it.
Hey, I understand.
It's a process that just doesn't happen once you they say you saved that day. It's a process every day.
Oh no, yeah, you got to
Yes,
practice.
that's-
And I practice every day. I pray every day and say, Lord, let me get through this day, be saved.
Yeah, you definitely got to practice. You know what I mean?
But
What
I
you
mean,
did.
like it's like yes, the urges are there. They
Yeah.
are, and sometimes you're able to satisfy those urges. Sometimes you just got to say, well, not today. And so, I get what you're saying that you don't want to get married. I get that. Like we call it now, they call it nowadays, I guess, life partners. I'm not looking to get married, but I want a life partner.
Right.
Yeah, I get all that. And
Or like Kevin R said, a death buddy.
a death buddy. Yeah, that's pretty much. But at the same time, like, hey, life's gonna still move. You got things to do. Got to either go somewhere and try to burn that energy off, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and I mean,
So-
and again, I tell people, even in marriage, they think that when you get married, it's always
not
gonna
true.
happen.
Yeah,
It's
it's
always
not
gonna.
That,
Yeah.
that ain't true.
It
It ain't.
That ain't true.
I think honestly, and this is just,
You gonna speak on it?
I think that in marriage, I think it slows down
That's what you think?
because I think after, I guess, a couple years, like I guess it just slows down because of the simple fact that like when you're not married, you're not supposed to do something. It's like more desirable, right? But when you're married, and it's like, okay, well, I can, we can do this anytime. Now it's like it's not as desirable, and
This is a man that just had a baby 2 months ago.
I don't think it's like less job. I think you just have more things when you're married. Like you've got kids, you've got family, you've got job. Like you have a lot going on, and it's hard to make time for intimacy because
Yeah.
you're doing so many
Yeah.
things with family and kids. And
But what about before you have
Responsible.
kids? When
well,
it was
that's
you
another
two.
problem. Like that's,
That's
another.
I'm just trying to
problem.
understand
I'm
what
talking
both y'all
about
are saying right now.
kids.
You talking about slow down, and you over here talking about things. That it was like I think, and I might be just different. It's the chemistry and the communication relationship that you guys already have.
Yeah.
Where I don't think it slows down. I think people make excuses to make it slow down. But I think if you guys already had that type of drive, having kids don't change it. It's just, okay, I got to wait 18 months and then we keep going what we're doing. Because at the end of the day, y'all laying in the same room. And you guys are together all the time. So intimacy can happen all kind of ways. It doesn't have to be strictly the full-blown intercourse portion of it, but it's still, you can still satisfy each other's needs throughout all that.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So,
definitely.
but when you say it's slowing down, and I look at you, you just had a child. And, so I'm trying to figure out how it slowed down, besides her being pregnant.
I mean, it slowed down.
It just slowed down.
It
I
just
mean, like,
slowed down.
how did that happen? So, are you married?
Yes,
How many kids do you have?
I have two.
Tell us about how that feels.
I don't know because I haven't been asleep yet.
Oh, well, see, so that's say. Well, when you get up to 2 to 3 and up to 8, then you can tell us
Why
about
would I
how
want 8 kids?
you can have 8 kids. I adopted 4.
No,
I
no.
adopted 4. So
my
let's
wife,
be real.
my wife said she's done.
Okay, so we'll bring her on the next talk.
You said he's trying to pull me into this. He's trying to
Because
get the pressure over him?
you asking all the questions. I'm gonna ask questions too.
We gonna both ask
You know
questions.
what I'm
Hey,
saying?
look, it's a
you
petty-
want me to get intimate with us?
You can ask all the questions you want.
I just got to change the topic when I come to you, married man.
I love being married. I mean, honestly, so my wife will tell you she never wanted to be married, never wanted to have kids. Never. She didn't want to have
So
kids.
you just messed that all up, didn't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
Married and had 2.
And two.
Woo.
She didn't want no kids.
No
she didn't want to be married.
Woo.
Right?
I'm gonna
And
talk to her.
And it changed though, right? It's depending on the person that
That you're with. Exactly. Like she can, like April can say right now, I don't want to be married.
Yeah.
Then meet somebody, and all of a sudden her whole idea of not wanting to be married changes because that person fits her like jeans.
Yeah.
So now they perfectly match.
No.
She said no now.
She said no. You said, but there's a lot of women out there that be like, and a lot of men that say, I'm never gonna get married. I like the freedom and this and that and other, and I don't want to like. And now them same people are married. Them same people got kids. You know what I'm saying? Got a house. Got all that or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, hey, again, I'm not trying to convince you of nothing, but I'm just
No,
saying.
I'm not taking it like y'all trying to convince me. What I'm
trying to
just
convince
saying is like that's not gonna happen. But,
She said it ain't gonna happen.
okay, let me just back up.
Okay.
Back it up.
If God said, this is a person, that's a different story.
I just said if they fit you like
No,
be
God
that-
gotta say.
So,
God
what-
gotta
God
say.
jeans. Okay,
So let me ask
God
you-
jeans.
God jeans.
God jeans.
Let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this then. And Lord, help me with this.
Please.
Man, look, Father, we thank you for these conversations as well. Have your way in them now in Jesus' name. Amen. I'll tell you this, it's going to happen when you least expect it, because that's usually when it happens. When you're not focused on it, that's when it comes.
I ain't been focused on it for a very long time.
And I'm just telling you, it's going to happen. Because there's a lot of people out here, I don't want to be married. I don't want to, and they go off of, I'm not saying you're going off of that, but they
Yeah.
go off of the experiences of what they've seen.
Yeah.
And seeing how nowadays, how marriage is not working. People take marriage as a joke because they're cheating on their spouse. They're stepping out on their spouse. They're doing this and they're doing that. And they're showing marriage to be a joke. So they're like, why would I want to be married if the example that's set in front of me is not what I want? I don't want to be heartbroken. I don't want to have, 16 marriages and 42 kids or whatever. Like, I don't want that. You know what I mean? But we're trying to show that marriage is obtainable, it's real, and, there's people out here actually walking marriage out in a true
Yeah.
way. Now, don't get it wrong. Just because people are married don't mean that they blind. You're going to see some bad ones walking through here. You know what I mean? It's like, dang, I'm not going to go over there and jump on her. You know what I'm saying? Or we're not going to go over there and be like, I'm not going to do all that. Cool. Look good. She cool. But then I got to remember, I can't afford alimony and I can't afford child support. And I love my wife.
Well,
I
I
don't
think
know.
I love your wife, Chevy.
Yeah, that's what I
Right
said.
here.
I don't know if it's in that order. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 'cause
We say not in that order.
Not in that order.
You said that last. I'm like, ooh.
I know.
No, not in
We
that
up
order.
here.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So let me ask you guys this: How did you guys, when you first had your kids, how did you balance work and parenting when you became single parents?
That's the easy one for me. So it is.
Everything's just so
I-
easy to you.
I've been at this for a while.
Parenting is
I'm a grandma.
easy if you understand that every day is going to be different.
Every day is a Monday.
Every day is not a Monday.
Shout
Every
out
day.
to Ed. Shout out to Ed Jones. Every day is Monday.
Every day is not going to be a Monday. Total balls. It's easy when you understand when you wake up, I'm just going to execute whatever I have to get done today.
Okay.
Meaning that you don't know what's going to happen, but you're going to execute it. Okay, so if I know I got to take my kids to school, I got to go do this, I got to go to work, all that's going to be playing as a parent because at the end of the day, you are your backup. You don't have, like, if you're a single parent, there is no other help. So there's no one you can pass on to your child, hey, can you take my child to school for me? No, it's you get up, you got to take them because you want them to get the education. So you don't think about, is it easy or hard or how did I get it done? You get it done. Because at the end of the day, you don't want your child not to have what you can't afford. So
Okay.
you work to get what you can and make sure that they get everything that they need. So it doesn't cross your mind like, I can't do this. Some people it might cross their mind. It didn't cross my mind. Because at the same time also, by the time now that I'm single, my kids are older.
Gotcha.
So at the same time, I still have a baby. She's now 7. But it's still, you got to do what you got to do. There's nothing that's going to stop you.
Yeah.
Now, like I said, I might fall asleep on the couch, but I'll wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and go right back to work. Yeah, I won't complain. I mean, as long as they tell you, hey, can you take care of that for me? And now I got to go do this. I had 2 jobs, 3 jobs, So it's just, you just got to do.
So how did you spend time with your kids in between them 3 jobs? Like, how did you do that? How did you function as a father?
Because, see, as a father, I knew certain times of the day I was at home. So when I'm at home, all my attention is to my kids.
Okay.
And if there's something that they needed, whatever, my job might be, I might have to work on a Saturday. At the time, I had a second job where I was working 12 hours. So I would spend all morning with them and then go to work for 12. And then I might even have them come down because I was working my second job was a fast food.
Okay.
So they might come down and hang out for a minute. Because it's one of those places where you can come and sit down and chill and I can go hang out with them. Then I might just call out and say, hey, I'm going to stay home for a day. It's like, you got to make time. Now, how I make my time is going to be on us, and we understand the dynamics, and everybody understand what's going on. So you just got to figure it out. But is it hard? Only if you make it hard. You got to just trust in the fact that, you know what, I just got to do what I got to do to be with my kids, and they got to understand. If you let them understand, you communicate with them, they'll understand. They're smarter than what we used to think.
Okay. What about you? How did you balance work and life as a single parent?
My job, the kind of job that I had, because I went into social work and teaching,
Okay.
and so I've always worked at home. So
Okay.
that helps me out a lot. So when I first started out, like I said, I worked at home. My office was at home. I didn't go into an office. So just being able to be home, honestly, helped me out do that. And I could always, my schedule was flexible, so I could always make sure I was home to pick them up from school and be home with them by the time, they got home. Then when they got a little bit older, I switched and I went into a classroom position for just 3 years.
Okay.
That was harder. Not so much balance now, I was just used to being at home, so that was kind of harder
Okay.
during that time, because my son at the time, he's my boy's the oldest.
Okay.
And so, he had more responsibility. Like all the kids went to the same school, so he would walk, he's like in 8th grade in the Minnesota, they're close, so they would walk home together. And every once in a while, his little sister, he would pick her up from daycare. It was a lady in the neighborhood, so he would pick her up and then they'd all go home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he was, like I say, he was a little bit older at that time, and that killed. I didn't like that. I was always one of those moms that I'm like, I want to be home with them when they come home from school. So they got out at 3 o'clock, and I didn't get back. My last client would be at 3:45. The end of it would be 3:45, so I'd be coming home. So they'd probably be home for an hour, and I didn't like that too much. That wasn't fun. But other than that, I've always been home when they came home from school. But it was just my job. I've always had a flexible job. I've always worked at home. I haven't missed not a school play, basketball game. I haven't missed one thing of theirs. So
Okay.
I was able, and I've always been salaried. So if I had left work for a little while and came back, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was just be the same pay,
yeah, it
yeah.
was okay. Same. I didn't miss pay for leaving for them and stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah, God just blessed me in that way.
Nah, big. So,
Yeah.
And just to add on that, yeah, your oldest always helps out. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you met my oldest,
Yeah.
Yeah.
she has helped me tremendously with making sure dinner was made for the kids. So we had a understanding at certain times she would make sure that they ate and said okay. And I had a system inside my house where if they needed to talk to me, I actually set up cameras not to spy but to actually communicate visually so that they can see me and I can see them without being there. And so if they had said they'd just call me up on the phone and then they'd say, hey, and they'd go to the camera and we'd just talk through the camera even though I was at work. So there was a lot of things that we had to do to make things work because I wasn't like her. My jobs, I did work salary, but I wasn't home at 3:45. I wish. All my jobs, I was always gone. So, like you asked me, how did I spend that time? And I forgot about that. That's when we used the camera just so we can all talk, and they can ask questions if somebody was acting up, or if somebody wanted to know if they could do something. We'd get on the camera and talk.
yeah.
And so that's basically how we used to communicate. And it was a lot easier because they didn't feel like I wasn't there because they knew if I can look at them and see them, they can see me. Kind of like FaceTime, but we used, at the time, they didn't have a cell phone.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we used the camera and they talk like that.
So, would y'all consider that some of the challenges that you guys faced as single parents?
I wouldn't call it a challenge, I call it life.
So, what would be some of the challenges you guys can say that you face as single parents?
I don't understand.
Dating was a challenge.
Dating was a
Yeah.
challenge?
It's a challenge because, like you said in the beginning, like 20 minutes ago, where if they don't they understand the dynamics, then they're not going to be around. But I don't call it a challenge. It's just like, you just didn't work out. And see, I think that's more of a man's point of view because
No, wouldn't it think like that too? Like if it just
it's
didn't
not
work
working
out.
out. It's like it wasn't a challenge for me. It's like, I'm like, for me, it being a challenge, that means I really wanted it, but I couldn't have it.
Right.
No, it's like if I get it, I got it. If I don't, I don't. So it's not like a real challenge. It's just, all right, that's it. Go about my day. Have a glass of whiskey, have a cigar, call it a day.
Okay.
It's
It was a
just-
challenge for me because I found it difficult.
You did?
Like, I
What
did.
was so difficult about it?
Like I said, I did, when I was younger, I did want to be married.
Okay.
So I think trying to find somebody, like, because I was dating and stuff, you know what I mean? But I don't want to sit here and be like I was real intentional about marriage because I wasn't. Like, I was
wanna get
just
married?
dating. Like, I was just dating, like, kind of like just throwing kind of like, I hope he work out. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But now that I'm older, what I would tell other young women, like, nah, you date with intention. Like, you know what you need, know what you want, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you find that. Like, just don't be just, dating people and just hoping it works out.
Right.
I think when I was younger, I kind of did that. Like, I was dating and hoping it would work out. And I did date one guy that I would have married, that I wanted to marry, that I thought that our relationship would go somewhere and that we would get married.
What happened with that?
We had an argument.
And you left him?
Yep. Because
One argument.
Jesus.
She-
I'm a
Cutthroat.
little bit independent.
You are cutthroat.
and
Our biggest arguments all the time were about money. So now because he was always trying to help me and I was always like, I got this. Like, so I think,
Oh, so you were kind of hot-headed in a way.
no, it was just like hard for me to, I think, take help from him. Because now, I mean, I understand, again, I mean, I'm old now. So looking back and being older, and I understand, at least for my faith, a man's role and a woman's role and stuff like that. And that's all fine with me. I fully support submission. I fully support marriage. I love marriage. There's nothing wrong with it. But I like it when, it's done in God's order and that kind of stuff. And that's all he was trying to do.
so
was
so
take
what
care
you're
of me.
saying is he was actually trying to help you,
He was trying
and
to
you
help
got
me.
upset,
I didn't get upset. It was hard for me to accept.
and then you broke up with him.
That's not all of why we broke up. I'm just saying that was the challenge in the relationship.
You know what? You know what this reminded me of? I was watching a movie called named Ted.
Uh-huh.
And it was talking. It was at the rental car
didn't
place.
see it.
See, they was at the rental car place, and he was like, "Man," he was like, "Dang, you been with her for that long?" He's like, "She ever farted around you?" He was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Man, this girl farted in her sleep, man. I was out of there before she woke up." I was like, "Hey," he was like, "Yeah, man. Hey, look, shit, I couldn't take it."
It wasn't like that. We just,
You know we're gonna make it like that right now.
you are. And I'm not going to be able to
Can't
live it
defend
down
you
every week.
every
So
week.
let me ask you this then: how did your kids at the time when you were dating, how did your children feel about you dating? Did you ever bring somebody around them? Never.
I had a rule, first of all. I had to date somebody for 6 months before they ever met my kids.
Okay.
So that was just my rule. And again, I was like older. You know what I mean? Like, I was kind of older and the kids were getting older. So I didn't stay with nobody long enough for that.
You didn't get past the 6 months.
Yeah.
She didn't make it to 6 months.
No, I was like you. I had friends with benefits.
Oh,
So
okay,
even,
okay.
it was weird because when I was really young, I mean like in my 20s, that's when I was like, I wanted to get married. My kids were little then, and I wanted to get married then, so that's when I was dating. But by the time I hit about 32, I was like, I can just be single and have fun and live my life, and started doing that. I had fun, I lived my life, I was doing my own thing, and they only, I think out of all the people I dated, they met 2 people. Just 2. The one I was gonna marry and one guy that I was with longer than 6 months. That was it.
Okay.
But everybody, I kept that part of my life separate from my kids.
Okay.
My children always trying to set me up. They were like, "Dad, find somebody." I said, "I don't want nobody." They said, "Yeah, you difficult." But it's just what do you think about her? What do you think about her? Oh, she's cute. What do you think about her? And you know how my daughter is. So she's always, actually, they all trying to say, "Here, there's one for you." Then I give them the signs and I tell them why, and they were like, "How did you see that?" I'm like, "Y'all just gotta pay attention. You gotta pay attention." So it's
Okay.
just, my kids, they'd be happy if I date somebody.
Would you bring whoever you date? Would you bring them around them?
Yeah,
around your
I don't
kids
see,
first?
like, I don't have that rule where it gotta be 6 months, because most of the time my kids are older. I would just let them know, okay, that first of all, there's always gonna be a friend. And then I would say, okay, this is the person I'm starting. I would then break it to them. It's like, okay, I'm getting serious with this person. Okay, yes. Because most of the time, like for my my kids, like I have older ones, 22, 24, 21, 18. So if they're around me, we're probably out and about.
Right.
So they probably seen somebody I talked to or walked up to. So they see things, and I'm like, okay, if we're getting serious, then I'm saying, okay, I'm getting serious with this person. What do you think? And then they let me know. But at the time, it's like, are you still talking to her? I know that she's not. She's gone. That was only two. She's gone. 2 weeks.
2 weeks, that's it?
2 weeks.
Probably longer than April. April was like 30 minutes. He farted, so he had to go.
He had to go.
You know what? Let me tell
He
you.
said he wanted to get married. I said no.
No, that wasn't it. Like this is what I used to tell people. I was like the best girlfriend. If you was gonna have one, I was like the best one.
That's
to
what I
have.
told everybody I was the best husband. You saw what happened with that, right?
No. No, I just mean like because I knew I didn't want like all that commitment and all that,
Right.
just marriage. I didn't want that. So I felt like as a man, like if you were gonna date somebody, be like, dude, like no strings attached, I ain't tripping. Like you know what I mean? Like we could just date, go out, have fun, and I wasn't. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I feel like I was real chill dating, and I was, I'm not dating like different people at the same time.
Old school. She was at homie love affair.
Oh, see?
That's
Walked out
I
with
said that all
the
the
roll
time.
off, you know what I'm saying? The pants all rolled up with the Timbs on. Nah, honey. I said, chill, B.
But truth be told, though, that is kind of how I more was like, though. I was
See, I
super
told you.
chill. Just-
I
Really?
like I
I
see it.
didn't. No, I was real chill. Like even the guy that I dated for 6 months, he was technically not my boyfriend. We were seeing each other exclusively. I was with him every single weekend, but I still wasn't like committed, and you know what I mean. Like
No, don't. What is not committed, but seeing them
I
every
mean,
week.
like we were monogamous, but we were not officially.
So you need the
like,
words to
boyfriend,
be-
So
girlfriend,
basically,
like,
she was unofficial. Like, she was unofficially taken.
Right.
But officially, she wasn't taken.
So if someone walked up to her on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
She was.
she wasn't in a
We
relationship.
not together.
why I
Nah.
gotta be the weekday? Like,
Because you said on the weekends you was busy. So you was with him
I
every
was-
weekend, so
I
I'm
was
thinking
with
Monday,
them every
Tuesday,
weekend,
Wednesday.
so-
I had a job. Like I'm serious. I did not date during the week. Like it was weekends, and I had a good babysitter. So
See, there you go.
So let me ask you this.
yeah.
How do you feel about having more children in the future?
You see this
You
gray
see,
hair?
you see how many kids I already have, man? You think I want some?
I know. I'm like, why
you
would
be
you
asking
even
these
ask
questions.
that?
What's going on with you?
Next.
We not like
Wow.
you. You want to have two and maybe have a third one.
Nah, we done.
That's what you
Next.
said. You know, like he said, people say this thing, but then you never.
Oh, no.
It's gonna happen.
No. Medically, we're done.
Medically, I'm almost done. I have gray hair. Why
no,
would you
no,
even
no,
ask
no.
me
I
that?
mean,
Like,
tubes tied, like, done.
That's not 100%, bro. But we ain't gonna get on
It's
you right
not.
now
It's not.
because I know people that had tubes tied and still got pregnant. But I'm just gonna
Me
let you let you ride with that thought for a while
damn.
until you get our age.
Bad.
I know,
That
baby.
is- whatever. Don't be saying about gray hair, because I know there's a judge who's 40-something years old who had a son.
Well, I'm old with my gray hair, so this isn't like I'm like
Just because
35
you got gray
with some
hair,
gray
it doesn't
hair.
matter. It doesn't matter.
It do.
No, it doesn't.
You're
You're just
baby.
trying to make it an excuse. Well, I promise you,
That's something
that
a
man,
30-year-old would say.
Lord,
That
Next
would.
that man
question.
gonna come and sweep her off her feet. I can't wait. I'm gonna be front row.
Front row.
Bruh,
Yep.
but
All right.
there's also a time limit there for
Oh,
people.
No, it ain't.
Oh, yes, it is.
Time limit for what? Having kids?
Yeah.
There was 70-year-olds having kids.
But with females' bodies, there's gonna be a certain time.
Called
limit.
menopause.
I was talking gonna go there with it, but you saw what I was going with.
So
Yeah.
did
It's menopause.
that means
Yes.
that men paused?
No, man didn't pause. All men paused.
All men paused?
They are because
Oh,
we're
man.
just
So,
outta here.
look, do you find it hard to make time to take care of yourselves, being single parents? At the beginning when your kids were younger? No?
I'm, okay, I'll take this out.
Okay.
You think? Yeah. I did that early on. I mean, early on. One of the things I was so glad I at my job, I was doing a home visit, and the internet wasn't even like I didn't even know what the internet was. And I went to this home visit, and they were on the news. It was Channel 10, and they were talking about this internet thing. And there was this girl, and she started this web magazine, and it was called Hip Mom. And one of the things that was and I'm so glad I got this early, is that she said, I'm a mom, and she was like 20 something, in her early 20s. She was a college student at Berkeley, and she said, I'm a mom, but there's other parts to me. Like, being a mom is not all there is to me. And it was weird at the time because she was like breastfeeding, she was tatted up, like, and being at the time that might have been like 90, like 4 or 5. That was weird at the time to see a mom, especially that young, tatted up. She was in college, educated, and she was a young teen mom too. But she talked a lot about being having more of your life than just being a mom. Mm-hmm. And she talked about self-care way back then. And so what I started doing after that was every single day, and I mean I still do it, every single night, I take time for myself. Like, I'm reading, watching a movie, I'm doing something, but I take time for myself every single night. And I'm just, that might be why some of the single parenting was a little bit, I don't want to say easier, but I've been able to deal with it a little bit better.
So you were able to manage it better because of the advice that you took from another person?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, because if you're not taking care of yourself, I think the stress of it, because I'm not going to sit there and be like it's not stressful.
Yeah.
It's stressful.
I mean, even as a married man with 2 kids, it gets like that, you know what I mean? The struggle is real sometimes.
Yeah, but you gotta take care of yourself.
Yeah. What about you?
Ooh. In the beginning, like when you said when I became a single parent, because I started being a single parent about 5 years ago, because I went from one marriage to the next marriage, so I wasn't a single parent at that time. But being a single parent and doing self-care, I didn't. Because my whole focus was making sure my kids understood I was there. So I didn't do a lot of self-care in the beginning. So it took a toll on me and on the weight size, and just wasn't really, I wouldn't say I didn't take care of myself in the sense I didn't eat or do like that. It was just like, me was second. My kids was first. I was starting a new relationship with my other 2 daughters, so my whole focus was them. My focus was on the other kids. Their mom and dad are not together, so I got to make sure this is going good. I was working 2 or 3 jobs, so basically, like, for me, it was, my self-care was, can I get 2 hours of sleep?
Right.
Just give me 2 hours and I'll be functional and I'll be ready to go. Mm-hmm. Or if someone else can drive, so I don't have to drive, so I can take a nap while we're going 5 minutes away from the house.
Right.
So it took a toll. And then about 2021, like I tell people, I made a joke, say I became smarter in 2021 because that's when I started worrying about me. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't mean I was being selfish and not caring about my children. Mm-hmm. I started taking time for me. So I started going and taking care of, like, nails, clothes. Like, it took a minute before I even started buying clothes. From like 2018 and probably 21, I probably didn't buy anything for me, but I splurged on the kids. Whatever I can afford, whatever I had, the last dollar was on them. Mm-hmm. So for me, even buy a new pair of shoes or a new pair of pants, because I was working at home, it didn't matter. I was wearing shorts and T-shirts. I didn't have to go nowhere. Mm-hmm. And it was COVID, so it was like I didn't have to, definitely wasn't going nowhere. So I kind of just focused on making sure they were taken care of. So my self-care didn't start happening until 2021. Then 2022 came around, and then I started kind of falling back into the old me. And I think it was when, to be honest, I think you and I, when we started talking and started doing our podcast, mm-hmm. that I started changing, because I'm like, okay, I got to get out. So when I started doing that, that was for me. Mm-hmm. There was a time where I was doing trivia every Tuesday at this one spot. That was my time. But as in me just truly doing self-care for me and mentally, it really didn't start until we started doing our podcast, and I just started taking time for myself, because I'm like, I need to be focused a little bit more on who I am, because, like any given thing, if I don't take care of myself, how am I going to take care of them? And so even though they're older, I still have to have that, be there for them. Mm-hmm. Show them some things and teach them things of independency and structure. But yeah, when I got divorced, my self-care didn't start happening until like 2 years ago. and I'm still working on it. So, you know, we talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
But self-care, it took back seat. Because my self-care, I always gave an excuse that I got to take care of my kids. I got to take care of my kids. I got to take care of my kids. I can make 100 excuses of why I didn't have time to do me. And family members like, you still got to take care of you. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then I go 1,000 excuses. Oh, I got to go take care of it. I got to go over here. I got to go to this softball game. I got to go take care of this. I got to go buy this. I got to go pick them up. I got to go do this. And never have time. You know, never have time. And I'm working on it now. Like, I'm focusing more on me because now they're older. And so I can say, okay, I can go do this without worrying about them being at home and my house burned down, you know. But it took a minute. It's still working on it. You know, I got to shed some layers off of me to where I feel I'm back to my normal self. Like you said, you saw a picture.
Yeah, you're slim.
Yeah, this is the non-self-care me, and you saw the self-care me.
Yeah.
So I got to bring that person back.
Okay. Because I know in the hospital after we had both of our kids, before they came out the NICU, they made us watch this video. And it was just a kind of instructional video of what happens when you guys are at home, if you get stressed out. But they're very adamant on telling you, if you feel overwhelmed with your baby crying, there's nothing wrong if they're in a safe place laying down.
Let them cry.
Let them cry. Go take a break for a second. You know, I'm not saying leave the house and just leave them there crying.
Don't do that.
But they said go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Just stand there for a second. Just breathe. You know, because a lot of people get overwhelmed. They start shaking their babies. They get mad and there's
Sex
abuse.
syndrome.
You know, all this type of stuff happen. And this even happens in relationships. They get overwhelmed with a lot of things, and then this is where the argument starts, and this is where the abuse starts, and then this is where, you know, divorce happens. This is where somebody gets frustrated. Here's where cheating happens. Here, so all this stuff is you have to take time to yourself to keep your mental together. You know what I mean?
That part right there, I totally agree on.
Yeah.
Like, my kids will tell you in a heartbeat, Dad don't care if you cry, because it brings all the emotion out.
Right.
Get it out. Go ahead and cry. But when you're done crying, you still gonna do what I asked you to
Right.
do. So like when the baby, like you get frustrated because the baby is crying, let him cry. Because I like my second oldest, she has a 2-year-old, my grandchild, and in the beginning she was, ooh, what's wrong? What's wrong? Now I'm like, let that girl cry. She ain't no, she over there wants you to let that girl cry. And now even the baby like, you ain't coming. Okay, I'm gonna stop. And literally would just stop crying if you don't pay attention to her.
Right.
Because she knew if she cried, people were gonna come pick her up. What's wrong? What do you think? And she milked it. Then she came into my house. She's like, you don't baby me like everybody. No, you 2.5 years old. You should get a job. So
Your milk is expensive.
exactly. So let's start working on not being a baby all day long.
Wow.
And it's literally she'll start crying, and then she'll look up and realize nobody's coming, and she'll wipe her face, and then she'll be like. And I'm like, now you done? And I'm like, okay, now here, go do this, go do that. Because you do have to, that part right there, it is stressful because you're wondering what's wrong with your child if you're a new parent.
Right.
I'm 8 deep.
Let's see that. So our first one, we were like that. Oh, listen, our second one,
Yeah. They
You
always
know,
say that too.
you know,
It's the truth.
it is because people tell you that, watch, you're gonna be this. I'm like, but that first one, we were always like, oh, okay, this and that, because we didn't. It was our first time
Yep.
having a baby of our
You're all
own. You know what I mean? You're like,
careful
making
with
sure
it.
this
In
and
a
that.
bubble and just let her roll around the
my
bubble so they
God.
wouldn't hurt. Yeah.
Man, like, you know what I mean? But now it's like the second, you know, our daughter is like, she'll cry and it's like, you done?
Get up, get your own bottle.
You know what I mean? But no, not right now. Nah, it's like, man, constantly like she's hungry, and that's one thing with babies. You may be frustrated, you may be overwhelmed, a baby do not care. That baby is gonna cry until they get what they want. And my daughter got
Infants is different than
because
toddlers.
my daughter she got the strongest lungs ever, because she will she'll warn you, and then I'm like, whoa, it's 3:00, bring it down a notch. You know what I mean? But you know, as we come to the end of this, I want you guys to, you know, is there anything that you guys would tell single parents out there, whether it be young, whether it be older, like how, you know, if you can give them some kind of encouragement, what would you say to them?
You gonna let me go
I'm gonna
first?
let you handle this one.
You want to take this first? I have so many things to say. Like, where
Alright.
you start with that?
Have at it, man. Because again, there's a lot of. Picture this. You go. I was in high school, right? And there was freshmen coming in, 8 months pregnant, right? There's people in high school getting pregnant, but they was like they were freely calling each other, that's my baby mama or that's my baby, and they were happy with it. You feel what I'm saying? I know somebody right now who is 16 and having a baby. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like real life is hitting them. It's like, yo, you think this is cool, but and again, I want to emphasize this: a baby is not a curse. A baby is a blessing. It's the timing that's the curse. You feel what I'm saying? Because you giving yourself something that you can't handle at that moment in time. But they are, again, I don't want to judge, bash, or nothing like that. That's why I want, as single parents, what can you tell these younger parents who are having these kids, by just different men or different women? Like, as single parents, what can you tell them?
One of the things that I've looked at with being a young mom that I would definitely tell younger girls, because I didn't want to do this. Like, I really didn't want to be away from my kids at all. Like, when I started college, I went just enough. Like my baby, he ate about every 2.5 to 3 hours. That's all I went to school for. I would breastfeed him on the way. Like, when my mom would come pick me up from school, I would breastfeed him in the car. So if I had like a 4-hour class, I just didn't have one because he had to eat. So I regulated my schedule around that. And I'm saying that to say that no matter how hard college is or school, and you don't have to go to college, but you got to do something to be able to earn a good living. Because as a single parent, like Alice said, he was working 2 and 3 jobs. And I'm going to tell y'all, I just stayed broke. I needed to work 2 jobs, but I wasn't willing. And most of I did have some financial help from their dads, but not consistent, not at first, sometimes, you know what I mean, like that. So it was still pretty much by myself, except for my baby. I did get child support for her when she was like 10 or 11 until she turned 18. So I had some child support for her, but it was still minimal. So go to school, find a career. You need to be able to find, especially now, like when I was, younger and I had my kids, there was all kinds of help. Right now, we don't have good housing. We don't have affordable housing. Everything's so expensive. Pay is too low. I think about single parents all the time that were like me, and I don't know how people are making it. Male, female, like, it's really hard because rent and stuff is so high. So find a career. Pick something that's going to just be able to take care of you and your child or children, because I think that's the number one thing I would say. And the self-care, like Alex said, take care of yourself, because your kids are depending on you. You need to do something, find something, find some ways to take care of yourself, because you have to be there for them. Like Alex said, I was fortunate. I did have a lot of support. My mom would babysit whenever I wanted. I had aunts, I had uncles, I had friends. I kept single mom friends too. You need a village around you.
I was gonna say the same thing. It takes a village to raise a family, and even if you were married, still you, it takes a village.
Yeah.
You just got to have the right village.
Yeah.
Because some villages, they don't help out.
Yeah.
Go down the road no, I'm not gonna go down that road, but
Yeah.
it's just you got the right people.
Right.
Yeah.
And basically, like you're saying, like, just your life is not over.
Right.
You having a child teach you one thing: unconditional love.
Right.
Because the child is showing you, they don't even know who you are, but they will love you unconditionally because that's all they see.
Right.
So they will teach you that patience and that unconditional love. If you take that as a lesson and take that and use that, the rest of it is going to come easy. And I say easy, not in the sense that, it's not going to be a hard road. It's more like you're going to understand that, okay, I got to go through this process. I have to go through this lesson. There's something I need to do right now. And then you'll be able to accept whatever obstacle you're going through, because at the end of it, it's going to better you and your child or children.
Yeah.
So I tell anybody who's young, old, or whoever's just single parents, it's like, you're not alone. You're not. It's not. You're not the first single parent. You're not the last single parent. If you need people to help or need someone to talk to, reach out. Reach out to friends, family. Just let them know. It's not that you need financial help. You sometimes just need mental help. You know, hey, can you just sit with me for a couple of hours while I take a nap and just make sure baby's okay? I don't
Right.
need you to watch while I leave.
Right.
I just want to take a quick nap. Can you just come over for a couple of hours? Family members be like, oh, that's all I got to do is come over for a couple of hours. Sure, I'll be over. If you talk to the right people.
Right.
You know, so you have to, like I said, self-care is important, and self-awareness is
Yeah.
important. You know who you got to deal with. You know who you can help, who can help you, and who can't.
And,
Yeah.
and I can say this, even, you know, as a married man, it's like this, man. I want people to stop telling these young people who get married that they got to put their goals and dreams to the side. They got to put what they want to the side. Why? Because it's like, stop. They can still pursue life and purpose. Just do it, you know, for that young kid, or do it for your child. You can still pursue, like, that's just like telling somebody, stop dreaming because you got a kid. No, it's not the case. Pursue life
Yeah.
for them. Make it happen for them. Build life for them. Whatever you pursue, do it for them. Because you're not just doing it for yourself anymore. Do it for them. I'll give you an example. Found out my wife was pregnant. I told Alex this. I said, man, I give myself 9 months to make something happen. If after 9 months I don't do it, by the time that baby get here and it ain't happening, I'm gonna go get another job. I give myself 9 months. Now that's not what the Lord told me. That's just what I gave myself. You know what I mean? So even now, like, I'm still pursuing it, making it happen. I was like, all right, we'll give it to January. and see what happens.
Because
Keep upping.
he's leaving out part of this message. Like he said, that's not what the Lord told him. Because
Yeah.
when he gave himself 9 months, the Lord said, that's not my schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he realized
Yeah,
things
you
are
can't-
happening just as not as fast as he thought they were going to happen. But he does see the light at the end of the tunnel, tunnel that if he continue doing what he's doing now, it's going to benefit in the long run.
Yeah.
Before, he didn't have the drive that he had a drive, but it was like he was just driving on all lanes. That car that just swerved here and there, turn right if he felt
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
Now he's got more of a focus, and he has more of a dedication, and he has more of accountability. That he was always responsible, but he's now holding himself accountable for when things don't go the way he wanted to. And I've been watching that over. I've been knowing this man for pretty much 1 year. And from the 1 year, I've seen him go from, all right, nonchalant, still nonchalant, but in a more of a direct, he has direction now.
Yeah.
I want to do this. This is what I want to do. I want to make this grow. I want to see this. And now we're sitting on this stage. This was something he told me about last December, that he wanted to do this type of podcast. He wanted to do stage council. What do we call this? A forum,
Yeah,
panel.
panel, yeah.
He wants to do all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, let's do it. And months and months and months and months and months went by, and we barely got our podcast going. So
Yeah.
now I see him focus. He's like, look, this is how I did with the podcast. We're on all these streamlines of podcasts. I'm like, okay. Now I will put the effort in, and wherever you need me, I'll be. So him growing, I seen him grow tremendously over the last 6 months compared to where I was the first 6 months. And I think that's just because when he realized I got 2 kids, I got to make sure something happened. And he gave himself an ultimatum, and then he kept to it. But the Lord said, I got a little bit more weight for you. So I need you to just pause on your timeline, but let me do my timeline and things will work out.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is hard, man, because you got to hear, you know, your wife, I need help, I need help, I need help, I need help, I need help. And I'm like, okay. But then you hear God saying, listen, just do this, do this, do this, do this, this, and you have your hope. Like, all right. And it's building discipline and doing this, doing this, doing this, doing this, doing this. And so I appreciate that, because I told him what kind of week I've been having, and you know, to get, and that's the thing, with parents of any kind, with husbands, with men, with women, whatever, we always need the affirmation, that encouragement to make, like, not saying you gotta always be right there, you're doing good, but just there's times where you just need that affirmation, like you're making that, you're doing good. Hey, if I see a thumbs up, like I told you when when you see Bishop and them preaching, I'll be like,
Thumbs up.
they good? Okay, cool. And I appreciate it because you need that in life. And as a single parent, I can only imagine, man, you guys need that encouragement. You know what I mean? And as young people, like, that's why I get so fed up when people telling young people, hey, put your goals and dreams to the side. And I'll step in, I'm like, stop telling them that. Because it's where, just because you did that, because nobody told you you didn't have to do that. Just like what you was like, man, you got more adamant on, I'm gonna make this happen. You feel what I'm saying? Just like you was like, hey, I need, you know what I mean? Like you got more focus. So, you know, with my daughter, with my son, I have a goal to make sure that, you know, my wife can do whatever with her checks. You know what I'm saying? She ain't got to pay for nothing. You feel what I'm saying? I have a goal, like small goals, like I'll be able to cover these bills so she has more money to herself. You feel what I'm saying? Like I don't care about money like that. I don't care like, oh, I need money in my pocket. I don't care nothing about that. If I want something, okay, cool. I know what. All right, if I have money to get it, I do. But if not, cool, whatever. So I just tell you, I tell anybody that, because I'm dealing with young people, people in their 20s. I'll tell them first of all, hey, look, don't be out here and having sex like that. Be smart. Use protection. Don't do it. But if you're going to do it, because I'm not dumb about it, be smart. But just know that these condoms ain't going to stop a pregnancy from happening. You feel what I'm saying? So I definitely want to do a part 2 of this because I think it's dope and there's other questions about, you know, intimacy and all this other things. But I appreciate you guys coming through and hanging out with us for like 45 minutes and talking about this. You guys were willing. So this is what we're going to do. So next month, we're going to do this again. We're going to do it, and we're going to have more people up here.
Can I ask the questions next time?
If you want to.
Okay.
If you want to.
I ask the questions.
Okay. But April, I would love
We'll
for you.
make the questions.
Yeah, you'll make.
We'll make the questions
We'll make
out.
the questions.
We-
Y'all didn't like those questions?
it's not about like or dislike. We just want to make. We got questions.
Okay.
But see, you being married, you don't have the right questions that we gonna have.
All right. You're right.
Yeah, you know, hey, I know.
But again, I want to do this, so we're going to do it again next month, and we're going to have more people up here, and it's just going to be, we're going to get the chopping this fable on this single parenting and dating life, because I don't think it's talked about enough, at least from the right perspective of the people who are living it. You know what I mean? It usually comes from people who are married or people who don't want to be married, or, you know what I mean? But just people talking about particular things like this. You know what I mean? And then even, you know, having a panel discussion talking about, you know, being married and the struggles of being married, because people make it seem like it's, you know, I've been through this, but, you know, me and my wife been good for 53 years. Okay, but what about the other, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just that we need to get to the core of some things in order to be beneficial as a church, as a people, as a body. We just need to be, you know, hit the core on a lot of things. So
I'm always game.
okay. So
Yeah,
April,
and-
you down?
Yeah, but I think one of the things like what you're talking about too, like even though like Alex hasn't been a single parent like, I don't know, 20 years or something, like you didn't raise him as a single parent.
Yeah.
And I raised mine as a single parent, but I haven't ever been married. I think too, especially like when you're getting older, and it would be, you know, good to maybe have like a younger like single parent here too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Are you correcting me?
that's, yes.
No, I'm just saying yes. I
Yes.
agree with
Because
her.
I said, yeah, he was agreing, yes.
No, I was
Yes,
agreeing
maybe.
with her.
First of all, I know
She's
what my
just
dad
looking
is.
at your direction.
I am. Yeah, but what it
Whatever. But yeah, no.
Yeah, but I think you can stay balanced though. Like I said, like I don't want to get married, right? But I approve of marriage. I'm a social worker, so I talk to couples who are married about their marriage. You know what I mean? Like I'm not against marriage, so I still feel like, you know, it's like you can still speak on it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to get married, but I can still speak to dating.
Right.
I'm somebody who is actively trying to date and get married, yes, they're gonna have, I don't even want to say more insight, but I mean, they're gonna maybe have different experiences than I do. But because I did date and because I did want to get married, like, I feel like we can still speak on some stuff even though we
Yeah.
aren't kind of going
Different
through
point
it.
of views, having
Yeah.
different ages,
I
and
mean,
different, yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
that's why this whole thing is about, because it's not just one perspective, like this person's right, this
Yeah.
person's wrong.
Oh, no.
Everybody has a perspective
Yeah.
of what something is because of their life experiences. And I'll never take that perspective away from somebody. Like, you don't think the same as Alex does. Alex don't think the same as you. Y'all don't think the same as me. You know what I mean? But again, we have our own perspectives because we lived life in a certain way and we've seen things and stuff was revealed to us. So that's why I said, getting more people up here to talk about this particular topic, because if we're not touching on something that is going on right in front of our face, then there's no point in even, claiming that we're ministers or pastors or something. Because if we're afraid to touch that situation, then what's the point of saying anything else? Like, how are we helping? You feel what I'm saying? So
I feel what you're saying.
Yeah.
And it could be on, I mean, like, you can have the panel, could be any topic.
Oh yeah, but
You
this
know.
this particular one is about
Singles,
single
yeah.
parenting, and
Yeah,
dating.
they can still have a bunch of people come up here and it can just be whatever the topic that we want to choose, and just have to just be about parenting.
Yeah.
Unless, no, just, I mean, it could be anything.
Yeah, so we'll keep it broad like that. Again, I want to appreciate you guys stopping by here. I want to invite you guys this Sunday here at the Message Church to Fifth Sunday, where we're going to be doing some big things. It starts at 11 o'clock at 2219 South 48th Street, Suite I and J. It starts at 11 o'clock. I need you guys to be here because it's going to be amazing. The next month, we're going to have another panel discussion with single people, single parents, just getting their perspective on it and allowing you to hear from different generations of it. So, they said they're seasoned, but there's some not so seasoned people that are living this life. So again, come check us out, man. We are available here at the Message Church this Sunday, October 29th at 11 o'clock. Be here. We look forward to you. We appreciate you guys.
Okay, I got something to say.
Okay.
I said my name was Osiris, and y'all kept giving my government name.
I forgot you. I was like, he giving your government name, huh?
You gave it too. You like, Alex. I'm
I
like,
did. I forgot.
I'm
But look,
like-
but look,